In this video, I'm going to show you everything I eat in a day. Keep in mind this is only one day, so if you want to see what else I eat, check out my recipes playlist as well as my written recipes on lisalansing.com. And lastly, if you have any nutrition questions or want more information, please check out forksOverKnives.com or nutritionfacts.org. For breakfast today, we're having oatmeal. First, mash 2 bananas into a small pot. Add around 3 cups of water to the banana and whisk to combine. Then add 1.5 cups of oat pieces. You can use whole oat pieces too, but it'll take longer to cook. I season the oatmeal with 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, but you could leave it out or use something else like pumpkin pie spice or a chai blend. I also add 1/4 teaspoon of salt to balance the sweetness of the banana. Cook the oatmeal on medium heat for around 5 minutes and stir it often. Once the oatmeal is nice and thick, remove it from the heat and cover. I usually let it rest for a few minutes while Kuba makes her smoothies. We tend to use frozen berries, sometimes frozen mango, bananas, and water. Sometimes he'll add an apple or kiwi to change it up. Lately, I top my oatmeal with more fruit and peanut butter. I really like this peanut butter because it's 100% peanuts, no added oil or sugar. I also take vitamin D and B12 every day. I don't take vitamin D year-round, but I feel a lot better when I take it in the fall and winter. For drinks, I'll have plain coffee in the morning and tea throughout the day. I'll usually have 3 teas and water if I'm still thirsty. Right now, rooibos tea and mint tea are my favorites. For dinner, we're making a 1-pot pasta dish. This gives us dinner for 2 nights, so if you don't want leftovers, you'll need to adjust the recipe. I like to include 1/4 of a cabbage, shredded or finely chopped, a few mushrooms, 2 carrots, a red pepper, a leek or onion, and a sweet potato. I also add 1/2 cup of dried red or yellow lentils, 1 teaspoon each of dried basil, oregano, marjoram, thyme, and paprika, and around 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground black pepper. I also like adding a tablespoon of veggie broth powder, and if you can't find this, you can use curry powder instead or leave it out completely. It'll still taste good. And lastly, you want anywhere from 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup of tomato paste. I just eyeball it with 4 big scoops, you don't need to be exact. And then you just add enough water to cover everything. Make sure to leave at least 1 inch of space at the top. Cover it and bring it to a boil over high heat. Then reduce the heat to medium and let it simmer for 15 minutes. Add 1/2 box of pasta to the pot. I like the spirally ones, but any shape will work. Cook it for another 15 minutes or so and stir it often. After 15 minutes, cover it and remove it from the heat. Let it rest for 15 to 20 minutes so all the flavors meld together. The longer, the better. Don't worry if the noodles aren't completely done at this point, because they will keep cooking as it rests. I make chapati pretty much every night because I always like to have bread with my pasta. So I use 1 cup of white flour, 1 cup of spelt flour, a teaspoon of salt, and a cup of water for 6 big chapati. You can use whole wheat flour instead, but I find that a 50-50 blend of white flour and whole wheat or spelt gives the best texture. I want them to be bendy and soft, so I need the white flour in there. Mix everything together, and if the dough is too wet, add a little flour. Turn the dough out onto a floured work surface and divide it into 6 pieces. Form the dough into balls using more flour if it's too sticky. Roll them out thin and let them rest as the pan preheats on medium. Cook them for a minute to a minute and a half on each side. Usually a minute on each side is enough. They'll stay nice and soft that way. If you want them crispier, cook them for longer. This pasta is even better the next day. I store the leftovers in the same pot in the fridge, and then when dinner rolls around, I bring it to a boil with a little more water to loosen it up. I always top my pasta with tamari or soy sauce and nutritional yeast for a little salty umami flavor. If you don't have any tamari, you can add a little salt to the pasta as it cooks or sprinkle it on later. If you've never had nutritional yeast, it's an inactive yeast that has a cheesy, nutty flavor. I put it on anything savory because it tastes that good. Don't forget to check out Forks Over Knives and nutritionfacts.org for more information on this diet. They have recipes and meal plans and all sorts of useful information on there. I keep thinking, what is this big ball of light?
Oh.
Very good. This is good and messy.